So we've spoken about skin and natural things. What about I'd call it an unnatural thing. What about nationality? Like, are you Guatemalan?
I don't know. No, I'm not really.
Are you British?
I think so, yeah, but I think that I spent quite a long time not identifying as that because I didn't want to. But now I realise I actually am, in terms of everything, pretty much in every means of communication that I behold, I am British. That's the like initial framework that I grew up with, basically. So that's how I navigated the world. So yeah, like I am. But that's I can say that now. Maybe it will be different in a few years. And a few years ago, it was something else.
What was it a few years ago, out of interest?
Well, just like no, probably not. Like, yeah, or it would have been. I don't know. Like, it just fluctuates, really, I guess. And I think what brings that question to be in the like one of the things that brings that questioning of myself in the first place is having people always ask you where you're bloody from. Like, that's, I think that has a lot of effect. Yeah, I don't know if you guys get that, right?
No, I totally understand.
People be like, where are you from? Where are you really from? Like,
it's almost like, is this am I telling you the wrong answer? Like, are you expecting something? Like,
and I feel, I think it's because I'm so interested in education that then I see it as some act of goodwill where I'm like, and I'm like, do you know what I mean? I do overthink things, and I'll be like, so I'm, and I'll give like this really sort of long form answer, and it's like, really they probably just meant Essex or something, but I'll be like, well, I'm, originally from, and then I'll tell them that I'm adopted, and then I'll tell them that I grew up in Essex, and then I'll probably tell them that I don't really sound like my parents, I've given this whole fucking story, but they just sort of wondered where it was.
But I hate the fact that it's so intrinsically connected to a really long story. This is one of the questions that I was going to ask, I guess, for you guys, is like, I suppose in terms of like, I might lose track of words in a minute. Immigration and migration and stuff like that.
I do think
I found an article about it once.
Really?
Not about being from Guatemala,
Really?
but like that was like an idea, sort of, as well. Like
about adoption.
Yeah, adoptees being like another form of migration. And if you think about like the causes or the reasons behind adoption, it is often the very same things as reasons for migrating.
A big part, what that's making me think about, a big issue I have is not feeling like I have a right to anything, and not always feeling out of everything. So never feeling like I'm an ethnic minority. Never being proudly sort of BME. I have like, I did this talk, like I've been part of it, like, but I've never been, but what I mean is because I'm adopted, because my family is so white, and I feel like that white privilege is behind me, and my voice is so posh, like, that's never been something I've sort of been proud to be, in a way, and I've never felt 100% comfortable with that. I've never been sort of 100% comfortable with being queer, because I'm not in my own personal sexuality, but I mean in terms of that, like, being part of a community, like, because it just, I think, and everything I was outside of, but a big one was race and ethnicity, and feeling, I don't feel like I can be proudly from anywhere else, because I've had all of the privilege of somebody who was born here. But I don't know, but nobody thinks that of me, I don't think. I think it's me who thinks that for myself.
Yeah, totally. I have it like exactly the same. Well, not exactly the same, but like, I've had a lot of those thoughts about it as well. Like, my family are pretty middle class white people, and like, I grew up with a lot of privilege. So yeah, it's like, it's just a really, I don't even know what that complex is called. It's like novel, isn't it? And I guess like I have tried to look for representation. I don't know like how you guys kind of, I feel like I've spent time like trying to I don't know, just even in what I'm interested in terms of music or whatever, like things that I connect to, of various communities, and it's hard to find there's just not really that niche of people where it's like you feel represented in, or where you feel like you have a place to be, like a place at the table to be there, even something. Yeah.
I've not really told anyone this, but I've only told Sabrina, and not because it's a secret, but I used to have these feelings of like an uncomfortableness with cohabiting, so living with my family. Not very often, but sometimes there'd just be, and this is what, when I was talking about my dream about something not quite right, I just had this like weird the living with you guys is just not, and I was so happy. I love them all, and it wasn't a nasty thing, but just living together, and us living together there's something not quite right. Yeah,
I did have something sort of similar. Like I still sometimes get them as well now. It's just like, I think it's probably just part of the coping thing. I don't know what came first. It was like a detachment thing where it was just like I felt I would be in a room or something with my family or in a house, and then suddenly I'd be like, this is really strange.
It was weird.
And it's not quite like explicable, but it was like, yeah, sort of like something's not right, or like I'm not right. And I guess like I could maybe describe it physically, like it just felt a bit like you're sort of like pulled back, and there's something obscure on you, or like you're not quite connected to your body or something, and there's like just these people and stuff around you which you like kind of know, and that's all, you know them really well, and that's fine. It's just like a really weird moment, and it would be maybe like pass in 5 minutes or something, but when I was younger it would make me feel like it would linger because I'd be scared. Whereas now it's like, okay, this happens, don't know why it happens, but like it happens, and that's okay, and I'll be back in a minute.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I guess we also spoke a little bit like about how informed we were of adoptive family, and in terms of the circumstances that lead to adoption, if you feel like privilege and then survivor's guilt, or like some sort of like responsibility or something.
Yeah, interesting.
Don't know if you guys.
There's pressure on us to just. I think that we were aware that somebody will look at us, or maybe when we were younger, not so much now, but somebody would have looked at us. I reckon loads of people would have looked at us and just thought, what a lucky kid. And my nan used to say that. So, and because she didn't get it, and I loved pieces, like she's amazing. Don't blame her, but she used to say, what you look at the opportunity you've got now. She put that on me, fuck me up, and say, you've got this opportunity to have all this life, and it's like I had to really, to be honest, I had to go to university and talk to my partner for years before. In a way, yeah, I did. It wasn't young that I really understood that that's not how the world works or happiness works. That like all the happiness is. I did when I was quite a lot younger. I did probably think that all the happiness was here. This is where happiness was, and over there it's like people just working on farms and dying, and like I didn't realise that like I had to be a lot older to really see the relativity of experience, that you can be happy anywhere, that you can be really sad with lots of privilege. I don't feel guilty, I don't feel lucky. I said this morning, one thing I'm loving at the moment though, and I like this, and I feel really empowered to say this because I think it's partly because my partner really loves it about me. So it's something that makes me feel sort of I think of as a beautiful thing. So she says, she said, I think your adoption gives you a different lens. Because
I've had that as well. It was really recently someone said that to me, and it was in a slightly different way, but it's nice.
Yeah, and I'm happy to be proud of that.
Yeah.
What about you, guilt?
No guilt. Oh, sorry. No guilt. I don't think it's something that I should be guilty for. Grateful? No. I think I come about here in the scenario because my parents wanted a child and they got a child. and that's pretty much it. So I'm not necessarily grateful. I mean, they could have chosen anyway. That they were looking at children in China first, and then they were told that they were too old, so they went to Guatemala. Yeah, because associates of my dad's work at the time knew someone, but it was just it's sort of one of those things where like it was a series of events that led to me being here now, but I think this is where like my relativity and like parallel sort of existences and sort of like theoretical physics comes into where I'm like any of those choices could have gone in a different direction.
Yeah.
And I just end up letting loose on that one. So like that's where I sort of my brainwave that sort of ends. Just me.
The only thing I feel is, and we haven't really discussed this yet, but the only thing I feel is is more towards nowadays. It's more towards feeling uncomfortable. So when you talk about gratitude, I'm thinking about parents. I'm thinking about the sort of people that supposedly came and saved us from poverty or whatever. And the only thing I think now is I feel uncomfortable with I find often quite intellectual white families who are quite mature, and I think of them going over and it being like there's an element of hobbyist kind of looking at the beautiful culture and saving a child. That basically white saviorism. That's what I more have. That's the thing that I go to nowadays at the moment.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Wish I didn't.
Yeah, like that whole complex thing. Yeah.
You never said if you felt guilty.
Oh yeah. What did I mean by that? For a while I felt like I had to do something of some kind of importance, like of some kind of value. Like if I'm...
What, with your life?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I just felt a little bit like I needed to be doing something worthwhile if I'm going to be here. Like as in, grow up over here and be educated and be like, I don't know. And I guess that also came from like as soon as I finished, I stayed in school kind of to do A levels, but like not really. I was maybe there like a third of the time. So in terms of education, it was never something I pursued. It was never something I really like took much from. So I don't know. Yeah, and I think in terms of privilege though, like that's more of something that I felt confused with, I guess in relation to what you were saying about it, like that is, the combination of just not quite knowing where your space is, and just being from somewhere which is identified as being somewhere that's poor, that's less, that has less opportunity, that has all of these it's basically less in various ways, like because in some way to understand like the reasons behind adoption, that's something that seems to be like a okay concept, like as okay as in like that's seems to be the sort of thing that I don't know what you guys were told, but like that's what I was told, you were adopted because your mum was poor and she couldn't look after you and have a better life. Which on first thoughts it's like, okay, yeah, that's fair enough, that's okay. Like it's easy for a kid to understand. It doesn't hurt them to understand that. It's not, but it is, I don't know, is it degrading to those people to, in a sense as well? Like I feel like it is a little bit in terms of what you were saying about where we find happiness and these kinds of things. Like now I know my siblings and my family and like they've had hardships, but they're kind of happy, they're kind of okay. So what does that mean? I don't know.